That's a tough one.
I thought to be a man, it means to be the head of the household.
Sports.
Riding motorcycles.
Don't cry, get back up if you get hurt.
Never to show fear.
Strong and a source of support for those who need it.
All right, gents, this one's for you. Chatelaine asked 1,000 Canadian men about masculinity, relationships, and self-image in the age of #MeToo. Their responses, as you heard just a sample there, were eye-opening. Joining us today to take us through the survey is executive editor Christina Vardanis. And Frankie, as our man here today, we want to say, and Papa, thank you for joining us.
I'll be you a lot through this.
Because that's the whole point, is inclusivity.
Yep. The whole point of the survey was we know that kind of going forward after Me Too, in order to kind of find real change, men need to be a part of the solution. But I think a lot of them are not quite sure exactly how to join the conversation, because maybe they're afraid of saying the wrong thing, or maybe they feel alienated by Me Too. So, you know, we thought this is a really interesting moment because it's such a complex moment and it's such an emotional moment. And the world is finally kind of really paying attention to the way that gendered power dynamics still hold women back, and the way that those things play out. But it's also this incredible opportunity to then take a look at the other side of the curtain and say, well, what's happening over here? Like, are there rules, are there kind of social rules of being a man that are also holding some men back and preventing them from joining this conversation?
Yeah, if you look at the 60s, the 70s, and men portrayed in television, they were the head of the household, they were strong, they never cried, they were physical. Some of the findings that you found is 42% of the men, it's not really surprising that they feel that they're uncomfortable speaking about their feelings.
A lot of people were, I think 1/3 total said that it was only 1/3 of men total that said that both parents, so their mothers and their fathers, told them that they could be comfortable talking about their emotions and their fears. So when you think about how that leaves 2/3 of men without a model for how to do that, with their father, doing it comfortably in the home, that tells you a lot about why there might be some difficulty now.
That's really high. And when you think about that, you cite other authors who say this is where you run the risk. If you're afraid to talk amongst one another, guy to guy, or with your wife, your friends, what do? You go online. And what happens? There's women bashing. Then it becomes us versus them. We want to get along. We all want to be better humans, regardless of gender. But this could actually take us apart rather than bring us together.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is something that Rachel Giza, who's the editor-at-large at Chatelaine and a columnist, explores in depth in a book that she has coming out in May on kind of the expectations of masculinity and boys and young men. And she also writes an essay that's part of our package that's online right now. She's spent 3 years talking to educators and sociologists across the country who are looking at kind of these strict definitions of manhood that still exist, and what happens when young men and boys especially feel like they don't have safe spaces to explore their fears, explore their anxieties, or ask embarrassing questions about things, or ask questions about how they're seeing the world versus how they're being told to see the world. And if they don't have an outlet for that that's productive and safe and positive, then chances are they will drift towards things like the internet, where, as you say, these conversations are quite often hardened into women bashing.
And when you think of it, I speak to a lot of my friends that are executives and some that are just plumbers, and right now they're afraid to speak. Because of the #MeToo, what's happening, they're thinking it's better for me just to close the door, not to speak, and not to be involved whatsoever, so that I don't open myself up to a liability.
You repress it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of that does happen, and frankly, a lot of those feelings also do kind of come from a good place, where men feel like it's not our time to talk right now. Like, women have the mic, and I'm going to shut up for a while. And that's valid. That's completely valid. But I think that we're really missing out on an opportunity here if we don't take the chance to kind of look at how stereotypes for both men and women are holding people back. And we can have that conversation without one coming at the cost of the other, because we all have a stake in this. And that's kind of, so we're hoping to kind of lay the foundation for these conversations to start, so that people can see, how people responded to our survey and said things that they may not be comfortable saying in public.
Well said. Thank you so much. We're just scratching the surface again, but for more information, breakfasttelevision.ca. We'll be back with more BT right after this.